the person who is using the Requisite Pro. So over to Soumanil for presenting the demo. Let me make Soumanil the presenter.
Thanks, Puranjoy, for the presentation. Okay. So with the presentation, so let me take up from where Puranjoy left. So this is a scenario that came into us a couple of weeks back, and the scenario is that the organization, it's quite a big one, it's quite a big name, but cannot take its name at some end of purpose. So they came in and said that fine, we understand that you people do a lot of integration stuffs and you do have some integration adapters, but there are certain automations needed at certain levels, and the whole thing started saying that the tools involved in this entire integration scenario is not only just the transfer of data based on certain events and certain actions to be done, but needed some intermediate actions that are required, and that's where automation is coming into play. So we did this scenario, and we did this very, very successfully. The customer was absolutely overwhelming. So we thought of presenting it to you all to understand how we are going a step ahead of this integration bus using this SOA-based architecture in helping the customers in this integration world. So with this, let me start by submitting a requirement into the Requisite Pro tool. So the Requisite Pro is located in a different server, so let me log into that server to connect to the Requisite Pro tool to enter the requirement. And in this scenario, our integration adapters are absolutely web-based and web-enabled, and they can communicate with any of the tools that are available across the web. So as you have seen that this particular tool is residing on a different server, and this server resides in somewhere in US. So with this, let me go ahead and quickly enter a functional requirement. So selecting the type as functional requirement and entering a small title, let's say login page need user ID and password field. Okay, so copying it and giving it a brief description, and not only the title and the description, but we can also provide a priority to this. For example, we are setting the priority to be high, and let's save this functional requirement. So once the functional requirement is being saved, now let me take you back to the diagram. So what happens? So the functional requirement should flow into Cover. The reason being, Requisite Pro being a non-workflow based tool, and that organization probably is having a review and a workflow mechanism process to install in place, so that the requirements being submitted over a period of time are to be going through a set of tasks by different stakeholders involved, and they need to set that whether this requirement is to be approved or not. But that was not possible in Requisite Pro. So to process enable the requirement submitted in Requisite Pro, we are passing it through Cover, which has a workflow engine, and this workflow allows you to create tasks, and through this task management system, which we call it as the Omni process, Cover allows you to review and approve a requirement and set its transition across the various phases. So let me log in as a reviewer in the system, and as I'm logging in as Adrian, who is a reviewer of the requirements as defined in the requirement approval process. So from the My Task page over here, you will be finding that Adrian has already got a task in his plate. So the mechanism behind the generation of this task is the requirement that we have submitted from Requisite Pro has been inserted into Cover, and that has triggered the workflow for requirements to move forward and generate a task. Now, as an end user, if you want to see what's the process that's running at the background that's generating a task as an end user, it's available through a visual drag-drop designer, that the different activities involving in the requirement approval process. So the yellow box that you can see is the activity, and the blue border around that box represents this is the current pending activity that's in place. Okay. So now let me quickly take you back to the My Task page, and as Adrian work on this particular task, find it to be interesting, and let's say he approves it. So Cover tasks can Cover tasks So the Cover task management system is also associated with requirements, also associated with timesheets, and the time recorded or the time spent in working with each of these tasks can also be recorded with the system. So here is the task details, and you can see that it's showing the source item or the parent item that is associated with it, and also it is showing the requirement status field that Adrian needs to update with respect to his feedback. So finding the requirement to be interesting, he updates and sets the status to be approved. So once he is done, he saves it and marks the task as complete. Now as the task is done by Adrian, the My Task page is freed out of these pending tasks, and now this requirement is triggered as a RTC task in the RTC tool. Now in the process of creating this particular task, it also shoots out, if I take you back to this slide, so once the requirement is approved, it gets back to the RTC task, and at the same time the task triggers a test lab creation in the quality center environment as well. So let me take you to RTC and let me log in to show whether the task has arrived or not. Now RTC tool is being used as a task management system where all the tasks with respect to each of these requirements are getting created, and these tasks will be delegated to the different stakeholders involving in the implementation of the requirement. to work on this. So going into the RTC task, I would be able to see the requirement that we submitted from Requisite Pro. So here is the one. So using this RTC task, at the same time, let me log in to Quality Center to show you that the same requirement has added as a test lab in the HP Quality Center tool. So let me keep the task list open over here, and at the same time let me connect to the server which is having Quality Center installed. So I'm logging into the different servers to show you that it's absolutely platform independent, and all these different tools are located in different locations, and data is flowing across in and across these tools seamlessly as a